Welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson, and right now I'm sitting out in a deer blind for the firearm deer season. But this week we're going to back up a little bit to right before the gun opener when I had a chance to spend a day in the woods with Ted Nugent, the Motor City Madman. Pretty fun stuff, and Jimmy's also got something else for us this week too.
Well, that's right, Jenny. After we spend a little time with Uncle Ted, we're going to transition to the duck marsh. I was recently at an event that really was aimed at getting more people out just enjoying the sport of waterfowl hunting. You won't want to miss that. And then we're going to end this week's show for you, the landowner, show you some tips on what you can do to help manage your property for wildlife. Lots of good stuff on this week's show, so you stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's the love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. By Meyer, a destination for hunting, fishing, and camping. From bug spray and tents to GPS and gas, Meyer has nearly everything you need to take on nature and get you there. Meyer. By Chappelle, providing sleds, shelters, and accessories for your time on the ice. Chappelle offers a line of pop-ups, flipovers, and the Bay Runner, a mobile cabin with a shelf for electronics and a sliding seat. On the web at chappelle.com. By Country Smokehouse, offering a variety of meat products. Country Smokehouse is located 3 miles south of I-69 on M53, just south of Imlay City. Country Smokehouse is a meat processor, a butcher, and a destination for sportsmen.
Ted, happy hunting season!
Yes, it is. What are we deep into it? It's almost gun season, so I'm already quite wry and spunky. You know, I love Texas, but everywhere I go, I'm from here. And I hunt over there, and there's a big buck I got up here. So I'm forever Michiganiac. Nobody can stop it.
What have you been seeing out there?
Well, this year's been strange. I think everybody will tell you. EHD knocked the deer herd down pretty bad all across the heartland, all across the Midwest. Some places are reporting dramatic 70, 80+% drop off. Here, my sightings, I'm terrorized to share with you. Our sightings are down 60%, but that still means we have 3 times as many deer as a lot of people do. So everybody's seeing bucks. I think we've counted 27 or 28 antlered bucks this year. So the buck numbers are handy, if not healthy, and the doe numbers are down, but there's still, I'm going to say, 5 to 8 doe sightings per hunter set. So I'm feeling good about it. I've killed a big donkey with my bow and arrow already. My son Fleetwood, who has returned to the Nugent fold, went on his first hunt yesterday and shot a beautiful big mature doe with his Excalibur crossbow. He's a good-looking, dedicated, gung-ho Nugent and made a perfect shot. So 'tis the season to be jolly. This is my 64th hunting season. I was a toddler on my first few, but I was there, so it's pretty exciting. And you can see by my eyes, I've already hunted every day since September 2nd, except for 3 days for Fleetwood's wedding.
Wow.
So I'm a little whoop, but that's a good spirit to be in.
All right.
And we're going to my grandson Jack's famous tamarack because of a west wind, and Bud saw 5 or 6 bucks working that creek yesterday. So
We had good luck over there.
maybe we'll have backstraps and bone.
Sweet!
It's always fun sharing a tree stand with Ted. I don't know if there's anyone who gets more giddy in the Michigan woods than the Motor City Madman. Even after more than 6 decades of deer hunting, Ted's still excited just to be sitting in the woods on a cold November morning in his home state, even if he's only seeing turkeys and cardinals.
I want desperately to see a herbivore.
We did finally end up seeing a little buck tending to a doe out in the thick stuff behind us. After they moved off, we called it a morning.
The deer numbers are way down. It might be my haircut, but for some reason, the deer don't like me this year. But I've passed up a whole bunch of deer, and that's very un-Ted-like. But over the last, I'm going to say, 5 or 6 years, I passed up many, many bucks. And eventually I'll put a tag on the buck of my desires. Not the buck of your desires, not the buck of a bureaucrat's desires, not the buck of a club's desires, the buck of my desires. Because hunting is supremely personal. That's why I call it the spirit of the wild, because it's me and God's gift to me, and the patience, dedication, and tenacity that I have to discipline myself to get that bow and arrow shot on a Michigan deer, doe or buck. So that's the way I see it, from a very old perch in a tamarack tree in the swamps of my beloved Michigan. I am Michigan out of doors. Know it.
After the morning hunt, we headed indoors at Nugent's Michigan home to warm up and grab some lunch. With his culinary magic in full force, Ted whipped up a venison sausage dish that was amazing. After lunch, we sat down for a talk about politics, gun rights, and hunting in Michigan.
What does hunting mean to me in Michigan? It's where I was raised to understand my duties, my moral, spiritual, intellectual obligations as a resource steward, as a conservationist, and a backstrap is my reward, many of them.
Lots of Ted's fans are buzzing about one particular topic. Is he or isn't he planning to run for office in the next election?
So the answer to the question, would I run for president or any public office? I sure would. If I believed, and my family supported and believed, and my associates and friends and blood brothers agreed that my involvement would begin to mitigate some of the outrageous abuse of power, can only be described as bizarre. No one would deny anybody anything, but I deny you going in my wallet to get money to pay for what you want. You got to be kidding me. So this kind of runaway power abuse and corruption is so offensive and heartbreaking. And I've been involved in politics all of my adult life, and I've helped facilitate upgrade, the elimination of absurd laws, the introduction of meaningful laws, et cetera, et cetera. So nothing is off the table. I'm 65 here next month. Wow. But I've been 65 years clean and sober, so I still function pretty good. Everything works pretty good. So if I could increase my involvement on any level to help reverse this suicidal trend by lack of we the people involvement and runaway corruption and power abuse by the politicians, there's no limit to what I would do, and I do mean no limit.
So there you have it. I'd take that as a yes. Ted and I hunted the afternoon with nothing to show for it. But 3 days later, Ted and his cameraman Big Jim Lawson had better luck at another one of his favorite stands. Ted had made a mock scrape before he got in the tree, and the deer couldn't resist checking it out.
Michigan buck. I had to do it. I think he's a 2-year-old, but I'm not going to check his ID. Hallelujah, and pass the back straps and the garlic and the butter and the spirit sauce. Look at my boy. I'm telling you, this is a much bigger deer than I thought he was. Oh, this is at least a 2-year-old Michigan swamp buck. He's going to go 160 plus pounds. Look at this little rack. Come on over here, Jim. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are you kidding me? He's a beautiful buck. So we sat here another couple hours, almost 4 hours total, and I see all this beautiful beige, tawny hide, fat buck coming up through the pucker brush here. And I said, I'm going to shoot him. I like him. And I put a 4-blade right high in the shoulder and dropped him in his tracks, but also got both lungs out of the deal on the downward angle. But look how beautiful. He's a big, handsome buck. How beautiful is my buck, huh? And right here, we're going to celebrate by sharing this venison with some military heroes and their families. And be sure you show that you appreciate the freedom that they sacrifice providing. Michigan in November, heaven on earth.
Well, it is always good to spend a little time with Ted Nugent when he is back here in the great state of Michigan. And I know a lot of you out there are huge Ted Nugent fans, and I know some of you out there are not big Nugent fans. Well, one thing I've always appreciated about Ted is that you always know what you're going to get with him. A true passion for the out of doors. And thanks to him for letting us tag along with the camera. What we're going to do now is transition to the duck marsh. And I was recently a part of an event that was really pretty cool. It was really aimed at getting more folks out into the duck marsh and really kind of that band of brothers when it comes to waterfowlers. A few weeks back found me just outside of Rockford at Black Dog Outfitters, the site for a pretty cool event. Waterfowlers from all over the area were putting on an event, and anytime you get duck hunters together, it always seems to mean a couple things: early mornings and lots of coffee.
This is the 3rd annual Duck Rendezvous, the Rockford Ducks Unlimited chapter put together. It's just more of a feel-good event. We get as many guys come out as we can, go duck hunting for the day, meet back at 1 p.m., have a quick lunch. We cook up ducks and geese that we shoot, potato salad, chips, just bring your own drinks and have a good time, hang out for a few hours. Normally get 30, 50 guys come, so it's not a money-raising thing. It's just more of a good, get everybody together, swap stories, all the fellow waterfowls that are going to be out there hunting anyway. It's just meeting up at the end of the day and kind of having a good time with it.
Travis and his buddies took me through some of the nastiest swamp you would ever want to walk through. But once we got to the edge, well, that is where the birds were at. We had birds at first light, and even while we were still setting decoys. Looked like the action would be early and fast and furious, just like you hoped it would be. We had sun, we had rain, we had wind, and we had calm. So, your typical Michigan morning. Other than Travis, we had Jacob Yonker with us, as well as Andrew and Josh Haverkamp. All good guys on a fun morning in the swamp.
It went well. Birds come in real early. First half hour was good. We got nine mallards hunting this nice little swamp here. My buddy Josh owns it. Nice little 30-acre timber flooding. Been pretty slow since. Been seeing a few, but it's been pretty slow since that first initial flurry. But it's been a good morning. Got like I said, got 9 down, so can't complain there.
As we wrapped up, Travis told me a little bit about this rather unique decoy the guys had in today's spread.
This is Louis the Longtail, Michigan Duck Hunters Association, the Spring Lake chapter, or the Lake Effect chapter. They give away one of these every year, and it goes, different hunters have it for a week or two every year, and it travels all over the country sometimes. You just take it out, put it in decoy spread, they take pictures of it. At the end of the year, they put a big album together with all the places it's been, and everybody signs it, where it's been and what they shot sometimes. And then they auction it off at the end of the year at their next banquet to help raise money, and it comes with a nice album with the story behind it, and just a little tradition that they do, and we happen to have it today for this hunt. So,
Oh, cool.
So we'll put it up with the ducks, old squaw decoy hunting mallards.
So once we had our pictures taken, it was back to the trucks and back to where we had started the day, Black Dog Outfitters. We had about 30 or 40 folks that were part of the rendezvous. It was a great event.
Well, pretty much everybody comes back by 1 o'clock. You check in, we take pictures of all the birds. Everybody gets raffle tickets for the additional birds on top of the one they get for signing up. And after that, take some pictures, clean the birds up, eat them, give out some raffle prizes, raise some money for Ducks Unlimited, so Perfect. Ducks keep flying.
And tell me a little bit about your shop here. How long have you been in business?
We've been here for 2.5 years. I had a shop up north of here before then. Specialize in a lot of the waterfowl stuff and traditional archery, and do a lot with Ducks Unlimited and duck hunting around here myself. So just something that we're pretty passionate about, and try and keep it going as much as possible.
Well, all the stories were flying about all the action from around the area. It seemed most every group had some birds, and some had a limit, and some had kids along on the very first duck hunt. Overall, the day was a real success. Guys had just one more reason today to hit the marsh. Some money was raised to help Ducks Unlimited. We all got some great food, and most importantly, the time-honored tradition of waterfowl hunting was front and center. The outdoor lifestyle is a wonderful thing, and when you get a bunch of duck hunters together, you see firsthand that early mornings, wet dogs, and birds on the wing still mean a lot right here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Hi, I'm Jordan Brown, and for our next segment, I was over in the southeast part of the state to learn a little more about logging, and more specifically, some of the habitat benefits that dropping a few well-placed trees can have on your property. For this week's show, I was in Livingston County to learn about some of the habitat benefits that logging can create, as well as what trees are most valuable, and what a logger looks for when evaluating a section of woods. There's more to it than you might think.
Well, Jordan, we're here today in Livingston County at a woodlot that's primarily being managed for habitat. Many people ask me questions at various shows and classes I do at very basic understanding of why do I want to log my woods, how do I log my woods, and what is it worth. Typically, wood prices vary. If you go up north, there's different kinds of softwoods and maybe pulpwood. That's not really applicable here down in southern Michigan. Most of these woods contain a mixture of cherry and oaks and some of the softwoods. Primarily the softwoods are used for pallet woods, things like cottonwood. In this particular woodlot today, we're going to show some of those. Some of the trees that are marked here in this woods that are going to come out is because they're shading other more valuable trees. There may not be another logging operation here for 30 years, but in order to make sure that those trees go straight, get as much sunlight as you can, you want to promote your top species, like obviously white oak and red oak are some of the top ones, but the market does change, and so there's normally a mixture and the prices can vary. So you can even mark the trees and sometimes wait months at a time, 6 months, even a year before certain wood prices come up, and then decide to go ahead and sell your lumber.
What I look for in the woods is I go through and I look at trees that are worth the most amount, and that's normally by size and the cleanliness of the log. And also I look for trees that are damaged, either from past logging or from storm damage or even lightning. So what I do is take a value of what the timber is worth, and of course you want to take the big ones that are worth the most amount of money, but also you want to take ones that are least valuable to upgrade the woods. And for the value of the timber, it's best to take lower quality trees to let younger trees come in.
One habitat benefit that logging can create is making room for food plots, something that's becoming more and more popular, especially among whitetail hunters.
What we're here, Jordan, is a small clearing, and what this will do is be expanded in order to create a food plot in the woods. That's one of the most common questions, is how to create a food plot in the woods. And a couple of highlights that you have to understand is that the soil is the most important thing, and the soil is going to need to be limed. The soil test in this is probably going to be about 5.5 to 5.7 because there's been so much leaf litter over the years break down into the soil, and that's caused a lot of acid buildup. So right now, this time of year is a great time to get out and put some lime on this. The logging activity is going to disturb this quite a bit, but it's going to enlarge it out. It's got to get sunlight to have a food plot in the woods.
Another benefit that logging can create is the increase in cover, both the immediate effect of dropping the tree and the long-term effect that logging has on allowing more sunlight to reach the forest floor, thus allowing new trees to grow.
One of the most important things is just simply stem density, and that is when you daylight an area, you have a lot of natural growth. It's going to shoot up, it's going to thicken the area. And it doesn't matter on your land if you're managing for rough grouse or if you're managing for deer or turkeys, those areas are invaluable. So if you look through a woods and it kind of looks like a park and there isn't anything growing on the ground, it definitely means you're not getting any sunlight in the woods, and that's one of the prime reasons that you would want to open up that canopy, is so that you could get more sunlight in there. Sometimes landowners are interested in privacy. Many have had, various problems with trespassing. It's one of the next most common things they talk to me about is, how to prevent wandering eyes, maybe road hunters. So sometimes how you drop the tree can create some instant screen, but at the same point in time, over the next 10, 15, 20 years, it's going to grow up very, very thick. And it's not only good for the wildlife, but it kind of maybe helps keep the trespassers out a little bit too.
There are many benefits to logging outside of just the financial gains, and if done strategically, it can really improve the habitat in a given area. Special thanks to Paul and Josh for shedding some light on the benefits of logging.
Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you stay tuned. Now, next week, we're going to show you some of our opening day of deer season. We won't have time to get to it all, but we'll show you how some of that went. And as always, you can check us out online to see what we've been up to.
And hey, if you shot a big buck this year, or if you know someone that did, the way we get our entries for our big buck nights coming later in the year is through our friends at Commemorative Bucks of Michigan. The folks at CBM will go ahead and score that deer for you, and then they will get that to us. So make sure if you shot a big buck, or if you know someone that did, go ahead and get that deer scored by the folks at CBM. And hey, if you're watching this on Thanksgiving night or even Thanksgiving weekend, just from all of us here at Michigan Out of Doors, we want to wish you a very special Thanksgiving. Hopefully you're getting to spend some time with friends and family. And hey, if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Jay's Sporting Goods with locations in Clare and Gaylord. Jay's, serving the Michigan outdoor enthusiast since 1971 with a wide variety of outdoor products. The gear, the knowledge, the tradition of Jay's, on the web at jayssportinggoods.com. By Showspan, producing consumer shows including the Ultimate Fishing Show Detroit, January 9th through 12th at Novi's Suburban Collection Showplace. The show features fishing tackle, fishing trips, fishing boats, and seminars on all Michigan game fish. The Ultimate Fishing Show, January 9th through 12th. By Propane, exceptional energy. Propane retailers promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas energy in homes, farms, and businesses across our great state. Learn more at usemichiganpropane.com. By Meyer, a destination for hunting, fishing, and camping. From bug spray and tents to GPS and gas, Meyer has nearly everything you need to take on nature and get you there. Meyer. Closed captioning is brought to you by Propane Exceptional Energy. Propane retailers promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas to outdoor enthusiasts across our great state.
Favorite duck hunter? Yes, I know. I'm very, very lucky. Okay, sit down, sit down. Sit. Happy.